Hello everyone, welcome to SAP Technomaniac. In my last video, we have discussed about PFCZ conditions in our CDS access control. In this video, we will learn about different other kind of condition. We will start with the inherit conditions and then we will go with the other conditions as well. Let's get started. Inherit conditions divided in the three parts. First is the inherit for grant. Second is inherit conditions from entity. Third is inherit condition from super. We will discuss one by one all the three things. First is the inherit from grant. This inherit conditions, when we apply, suppose we have created one CDS entity. I have given one example over here. Suppose we have created one CDS entity YDDLS sample underscore 04. This CDS entity I am calling in another CDS entity YDDL as sample 05. I called this that is called view on view. I called one view in another CDS view. So in this one, for CDS sample 04, we have already defined one access rule. As I told you in my last video, that if somebody defined the access rule and we are calling for the one entity and that entity called in another entity, that access rule will be not applied on that calling entity. In this case, if I have already defined this particular for this CDS entity, this DCL I have created YDCL04, which is on this YDDLS sample 04. But when I create the another CDS entity YDDLS sample 05, which is selecting from the 04, in that case this particular DCL will be not applied on the 05. We will get entire data irrespective of all the restriction whatever we have put in this particular author DCL. So to apply the DCL, whatever we have done in this particular DCL, we already discussed about that how to apply the using the access rule, inherit rule. But inherit rule got obsolete, that we have already discussed in my last video. We will do this thing using the inherit condition. So inherit condition, how we will do this is the first type of inherit conditions. Inherit for grant, what we will do, we will create another DCL YDCL05. we will select on this particular, and instead of defining separate condition, what we will do, we will inherit all the condition of 04. This is called the parent role. What we will do, where inherit this particular DCL, all the role, all this access control, whatever we define here, for that access control we call here, we will call this particular role, we call this role here define role, and we will for grant select on this particular entity CDS entity which we have used here, and we will put it. What it will do, it will create all the condition whatever it is there in the DCL04, that will be applied on now 05 as well. We can put additional condition like that. I have put apart from this condition, I have put additional condition where suppose no should be equal to the line number 20 only I want to get for all the sales orders, like that I can do. So basically this is the first kind of the inherit condition, where we are calling the entire role itself in another role. This is basically used when we are calling one CDS entity and another CDS entity, and we want to apply the another CDS entities that DCL as well on this CDS entity. That time we will create this kind of role. This is called inherit for grant. So there are two important roles whenever we are creating the inherit condition, inherit for grant. First is if the parent role can have multiple access rules. As I told you, what is access rule? Whatever we are defining starting with grant and ending with comma, this is one access rule. The parent rule means this parent role means this is the parent role. Parent role can have multiple access role. If the parent role is having the multiple access role, that will be combined using the OR conditions. Here also it will be applied, all the roles will be applied. In this case we have only one role. If we have multiple role is there, for all multiple rule is there in particular defined role, this is called one rule. If we can have multiple rule, if we have multiple rule, that will be combined using the OR conditions. And next thing, full access rule cannot be inherited. If we have something like that without where conditions, that is called full access control, we can't inherit those kind of rule using the inherit for grant. These are the two important things whenever we use inherit for grant that we have to make sure. In inherit for grant, we are calling the role itself. Means we have defined one role, we are calling that role inside another role. But this is the second variant of the inherit conditions. Instead of calling that particular role, we will call one particular CDS entity. We will inherit particular CDS entity. For that CDS entity, what all are the roles are defined. For those roles, what all are the conditions are there, those will be considered in this inherit condition for entity. The syntax is what we are, instead of defining in the role, what we were doing, we are putting in where condition inherit this particular role, for grant select on this particular CDS entity. But in this case, in where condition, what we will do, we will inherit the condition from that particular entity. So we will write inheriting the condition from entity. We have to give the CDS entity name inside instead of giving some role name. So for this CDS entity, what all are the roles are defined, those all the roles have what all are the conditions are there, those all conditions will be added here in the where condition. In this example, for example, I have given, suppose I have created one sample 01 VBLN and Kunnar. This is sample CDS view, and I have another CDS view sample 04 for that which I have shown you in my previous slide also. For that I have already one defined role is one DCL, we can say one access control already defined for that sample 04. But this role, whatever I have defined for the CDS entity 04, I want to use in my CDS entity 01. In this case, neither I'm inheriting anything. I just want to use whatever the condition I have used here. I want to use directly those conditions here, because I know what all are the fields I am using here. Those fields are available in the CDS entity also. So sometime it has happened for this CDS, we have already we have given the access for all the users based on some conditions, and those conditions also we can apply in this CDS also. We just can inherit that particular CDS entity inside our role. So I have defined another role for this YDCL01 where I'm just inheriting all the condition of this particular CDS entity. I know whoever can access this particular CDS entity, now they can access 01 as well. Whoever can access the 04 CDS entity, those users, if the user specific conditions are there, as of now I'm using literal conditions just for the simplification purpose. You can combine, you can use here along with the literal condition, you can use the another user aspect condition which we are going to discuss, and or PFCG condition which we already discussed in my previous videos. So those all conditions will be applied over here. So what all are the things we have to make sure when we are using one CDS entity's roles? You can see we are using here CDS entity. This CDS entity can have multiple roles created for that. Those all roles conditions will be applied here. So these are some things are there if CDS entity does not have any access condition at all. Suppose I have used this CDS entity here, YDDLS sample 04. In this case, I have created the one role for this particular CDS entity. That there might be the case you don't have any role at all. In that case, what I have to do, I have to give some default value, mandatorily to give. I have to give if there is no DCL for this particular CDS entity. In that case, either I have to give entire access to this particular CDS, because there is no DCL at all. How this role will be evaluated? In this case, what I will do, I will grant the access to the particular role. If you want to restrict the role, if the DCL is not created, you can give default false as well instead of giving the default true. But some of the time what happens, in this case I have used Kunnar. And for the DCL4, I know I have one field in the DCL4, so I put one condition DCL, or that field also available in this CDS entity also. That is the reason I have used inherited condition from this one. So in this condition will be inherit here, then Kunnar will be this particular, then only this particular view will be executed. But suppose I don't have the Kunnar field itself in this particular CDSU entity, and I'm inheriting this condition. What will happen? Once you will inherit the particular CDS entity to create one role, inherit the conditions of particular CDS entity, and you don't have that field there, you will be not able to activate that field. There is two condition further, you will get the error, and there is two condition. If you have the full access control, suppose I have the full access control on, I have already one DCL is there, which is granting entire access to that particular, for example, this DCL 04 is having another, this particular CDS entity is having another DCL, which is granting the entire access to particular CDS entity. In that case, what will happen? This is having, we are having where condition Kunnar, and Kunnar is not available here, but another DCL is there which is not without the where condition, means granting full access to that particular CDS entity. In that case, we will not get any error, it just will be ignored, because for this particular CDS entity there is full grant access rule is available. That is the reason it will be ignored. But if we don't have the full grant access for this CDS, and if you try to activate, you will be not able to activate those particular CDS role if you are using wrong field. If you don't have Kunnar here, and if you try to activate this one, and you will be not able to activate. I will show you this all the things in system as well. So before going that, there are no full access for rule, CDS role cannot be activated. If there is full access role, it will be activated, but you will get syntax warning. Whatever the field is available in that your DCL, those fields are not available for your current CDS entity which you are defining the role. This variant also allows the inheritance of full access role. That in my previous variant, which we have seen, this one, inherit for grant, we are not able to inherit those roles which is having the full access. But in this case, if some of the CDS entity is having the full access, those CDS entity also we can inherit. Same applies to this CDS entity as well. For that we are creating the role, so same role will be applied for this CDS entities also. These are the basic things about the inherit condition which we are using. We are defining using the inherit condition from the entity, CDS entity, when we are creating. This is the second variant of the inherit condition. One is the inheriting condition from super. So this is little bit tricky, and what it is that, so if we have already defined one for one CDS entity, multiple DCLs already we have defined and we are using, and somebody, what he did, he created one access rule using one defined role. He created the access rule where he have used the redefinition. As I told you in my previous video how redefinition will work, all other role defined for this particular CDS entity will get disabled, only this redefinition will work. But some other developer came and he want to test like that this particular access role is not, it should be disabled and all others should be run. In that case, what we can do, we can add the where inherit condition from super. What it will do, it will inherit condition from super. This addition, what it will do, it will disable, it will enable again all the things which got disabled by the redefinition. Means all other DCL will run apart from this particular DCL. This is how it will work. But I'm not sure what is the actual use of this one, and I don't know why SAP have given, but this is the how SAP documentation is explained. And another one thing, this variant is possible when we have used in one access rule the redefinition is all redefinition we are doing. For those rules only we can do this particular addition, inherit condition from super, otherwise we can't do. And second thing, for this particular CDS entity there should be some other DCL available, or some other defined role should be available, then only we can use this addition inherit condition from super. I don't think so it will be real time, it will be useful, but just to explaining purpose, this is the last one, so I have explained. Now what we will do, we will jump into the system. These all the three inheriting conditions we will see one by one, whatever we have discussed in theory part. To understand the inheriting condition, I will use the existing CDSU which we have created in my previous videos. You can see there are two CDSU. One is the GCDS sample 01, which we are calling in another CDSU GDDLS sample consume CDS. So one more important thing I want to show you guys, if you want to see for this particular CDS view, what all are the DCL got created, there is two way. One thing we can do Control Shift Z, sorry, again I have to do Control Shift Z, I have to click. It will give me the search list for this one. I can open parallelly here. You can see the how many DCL got created. In this case, we have one DCL sample 01. There is total 2 DCL created, and it is consumed in one DDIC based CDS, which is this one, and it is consumed in one program and one class as well. Like that we can see. But there is one another way also. We can select this one and we can click on navigate and show in relationship explorer, something called so there also we can see that it will show you directly, it will show you what all are the DCL for this particular CDS got created. Like that we can also see. So let me open both the DCL, what all are the data which we have created, both the DCL created in my previous video. Let me open one by one both the DCL. This is the first DCL. And let me open it here. Somewhere here I can see, yeah, so it will be good. I will open here. So this is the first DCL, and there is some another DCL also there. This is my second DCL. Let me open this also. Okay, in the first DCL we have defined the two rules we have defined. This is particular defined role. Inside the defined role we are defining access rule, and inside the access rule we have access conditions. So if I will little bit enlarge this one, so you can see this is my first access rule and this is my second access rule, and I have another DCL for this particular CDS entity which is having what it is doing, it is redefining. So what the redefinition do, as I told you in my last video, it will what all are the other DCL exist for this particular CDS entity that will not considered, and only this particular CDS only considered. So if I do, as you can see, if I have redefined, so it got neglected now. Whatever it was doing, it was using one PFGC condition in the it will not work now. Only this DCL will work because we redefined the DCL for this particular CDS entity. If I try to execute the DCL, so I will get the data only from the NA01. Let me show you. Let me do F8. And you can see I got the data from only from NA01 when I execute this one. If you try to see the distinct value, only you will be able to see the NA01 VKORC. This is my another DCL, CDS, DDIC based CDSU, sorry. So in this CDSU, as of now, if you try to see relationship explorer, navigate, show in relation explorer. So you can see there is no for this CDS we don't have any access control as of now. Or you can do Control Shift Z also. You will be not able to see any DCL code created for this CDS view. But this is calling this particular CDS entity is calling another CDS entity. This CDS entity, which is this one, it is having two DCLs. Which is one is with redefinition. This should apply ideally. When we are directly calling this particular CDS entity GDDLS sample 01. That time this particular DCL got applied and we got the data only from NA01. But if I call here, it will apply. Let me show, because I call this particular CDS entity inside the CDS entity and authority check. Let me put check instead of not allowed. Control space check. And let me activate this one again, Control F3. Or here is already there authority check equal to check. You can see client handling is fine. Authority check equal to check, it is there. Let me do F8 again, this one. Cancel. Let it activate first. It got like Control F3. Let me do F8 now. Inactive. Cancel. It is getting activated. F8. Now it got activated, but we are getting the data. If I try to see distant values, you can see not only the we are getting NA01, we are getting all the cells. So in this case, if I am consuming this particular CDSU inside another CDSU, for this CDSU, whatever the access control is applied, those will be not applied on this. For applying those access control, for this CDS, I have to create the separate DCL for this one. So we will use here for first inherit for grant, first inherit conditions we will use, and we try to do, we are trying to inherit what all are the conditions applied here, that those I will try to inherit here. So what I will do, I will create one DCL for this one. So you have to go to your project explorer, and you are currently here, you have to right click over here and create DCL. Right click you have to do, a new access control I want to create. For this particular, I have to give some name, GDCL sample consume I can give, and I can give some description over here and click on next button. I will use basic I will give some TR, and I am not using inherit conditions as of now. I'm inheriting the role instead of condition. Let me use define role with simple condition, and let me finish it up. So let me minimize this one. You can see this particular DCL got created, but I don't want to create the separate DCL for this one. What I want to do, since I am consuming the CDSU, inside this CDSU, what all are the CDS, what for this CDS entity, I know this is the DCL I have created. I want to call this DCL in my this CDS entity. So for calling this particular DCL, what I can do, I can use inherit. As you can see, I can use the inherit for grant. So what I have to do, I have to use inherit, and I have to give the DCL name which I want to inherit here. So in this case, I want to inherit this one, and I have to write for grant select on, and for which CDS entity I want to use this particular CDS entity to give the access on this particular CDS entity I want to use. So like that I can use. So like that, what it will do now, whatever the access rules applied here, those will be inherited here and applied on this particular CDS entity of this particular CDS view. So what I did, I inherited this particular role. So inside this role, what all are the access conditions or access rules are applied, those all will be inherited, and for this particular CDS entity only. There can be multiple CDS entity, other CDS entity also. Only those rules will be inherited which is applicable for this particular CDS entity. As of now, there is only one rule, and this is applicable only for this CDS entity. This will be inherited and it will be applied here as well. Let me activate this particular DCL, Control F3. I didn't define separate condition over here. I just inherited particular this role inside this role which is created for this particular GDLS sample consume CDS. Now this whatever the in this role, what all are the conditions are there for this what all are the conditions for there for this particular CDS entity, all will be applied here as well. Let me see the data now. What I will do, I will just refresh the data now. You can see now I'm getting the only data from the NA01. If I try to see the distinct values, you can see I'm getting now data only for NA01, because the conditions is the NA01 which got inherited here and it got applied. I have another DCL also. Instead of this DCL, I want to apply these rules here. So how I can do, instead of calling that one, I can call this one, Control C, Control V. Now instead of inheriting that particular DCL, it will inherit this DCL and it will try to apply here. So let me do Control F3, and now if I try to refresh the data, I'm getting the data. You can see if you 1710 and VBSO. Why we got the 1710, you can easily understand, because of this rule, this condition I got, and VBSO due to this particular PFGC condition. If you don't know how to create the PFGC condition using the authorization object, you can watch out my previous video. I just want to show you why it got filtered out based on the VBSO. You can open for this particular user. Currently my ID is GABAP3. I have created auth rule. Let me show you in Alt F8. I want to open the PFCZ and I want to see the GVKORZ rule, GVKORZ role I have created there. Inside the GVKORZ, I have defined the GVKORZ auth object. Let me open that one. Let me display this GVKORZ over here. And inside this GVKORZ role, I have given this GVKORZ condition. You can see users, for which user it should work. If you click on user, it should work for GABAP. This is my current ID, and what all are the authorization you want to give. You have to click on authorization and display authorization data. If you go inside, then see there is multiple authority object there. One of the authority object is GVKORZ. If you go and open this one, and if you see here, there is one condition is already applied, GVKORZ, where we are filtering based on the VVSO. That is the reason we are able to see, apart from 1710, we are able to see the data from the VVSO also. If you see the distinct values, you can see there is 3 entries for the VVSO and other entries for the 1710 we are getting. Okay, like that we can display. Let me close it out now, this PFCZ also, and this is also, this is how it works, this particular inherit for grant select on. As I told you, if there are multiple rows in my explanation, it will be combined using the OR condition. So the 1710 also applied, and this also VVSO also applied. So it combined using OR condition. Suppose if we would have, instead of having this condition, let me show you, we can't inherit any role which is granting. Let me do control shift less than. That was another theory part I explained. If we don't have any condition at all for any CDS view, let me close it out. This means I'm doing the grant role in this one. Let me activate this one, control F3. I activated this one, and now if I try to inherit this one, let me activate this one, control F3, control F3, control C, control Z, control F2, control F3, and let me execute this one again, F8. So I can see there is some execution got failed because I can't inherit some of the inherit those DCLs which is having grant full access. I might have got error also. I am not getting error. Let me change something, then only I will get the error. Let me try to activate now. Okay, I got the error now. So inherit from functional grant role, a grant role is not allowed. You can see, because I have given the full entire access, I am accessing those roles, that is not allowed here, because you will be not able to activate here. So for activating, you should have some condition. At least you should have one access rule or one conditions, then only you will be able to apply. Let me deactivate again, and let me activate controls F3, and let me now activate this also, control F3. And if you try to see now the data, you will get, I think, VVS only now. Okay, it didn't get activated till now. Let me activate again, control F3, and let me close it out, and let me activate this also, control F3, and let me do now F8. So you can see I'm just getting the VVSO data since I removed the 1710 access role from here. So like that we can inherit one access role from another access role. One another thing I just want to show you guys, along with this particular condition, I want to apply my own condition. I have inherited role conditions from this role. Apart from those conditions, I want to apply my own conditions also. Either I can use or AND. I can apply my own condition. Currently, I'm getting only data for the VVSO. So I want to get the 1710 also. I want to give this at that access. You can apply that also. You can use PFGC conditions. You can use literal conditions along with this particular inherit conditions. So I can apply EVKORZ equal to 1710 also I want to get. Or you can apply like that. I just want to get the VB type equal to some other thing. I just want to get other things are similar. I will be not able to filter out, or you can pass the ISO number as well to just check out. But just as of now, I have added OR conditions. I want to get the ones that VVSO along with the 1710. Let me activate this one, control F3, and once it get activate, let me refresh the data of this one. Now I will get the data not only for the VVSO, I will get the data from 1710. You can see I got the data from 1710 and VVSO both. You can see VVSO as well. Somewhere I saw this, see VVSO and 1710, both the data you can see. That is how this particular grant inherit for grant will work. Now second variant we will see, instead of inheriting this particular DCL or access role, I will inherit the condition from particular CDS entity. For that, what I have to do, let me do control shift less than. This is not required. I will use same CDS. So I to create another CDS, or I can create another CDS also to relate where we are not calling anything and just we are using the condition. Like I can create another CDS, not an issue. Control Z, Control Z. Let me Control Z, and I can unlock this one so it will not be saved. Okay, Control and let me close this one. This is not required now. So what I will do, I will create another basic CDS to explain the, or I can use some existing one. I used already simple 01, and let me create another simple one. That will be good. New data definition and ZDDLS sample underscore what 09 I can create. 09 I didn't create it till now. 09 to explain the inherit something DCL, something I can write, and I can write inherit DCL condition. Let me click on next button, give some TR, next button. This time I can use this one, define view entity, or if you want to create the DDIC based CDS, that also you can create. Let me finish it out. So whatever I am showing the DCL, you can create for CDS, DDIC based entities, or you can create for the CDS functions, table functions as well. All kind of CDS you can create apart from abstract CDS. That is another kind of things which we didn't discuss. Upcoming video we will discuss. So you can see I have created this particular basic CDS view. I don't want to make that much complex this particular CDS entity. What I will do, instead of making complex, what I will do, I will simply get some data from the currently what we are getting from select from VBAK, and I will get one or two data as is VBL and Kunna net price. This 4 data I will get. Control C, copy paste work I'm doing, not much to explaining purpose. Control F3. In this case I'm not inheriting in the DCL, I'm not calling any CDS inside CDS. So I am getting the data entirely different. Control F3 I will do. Shift F1. I created basic CDS entity to explain again. Let me do F8. It didn't get activated. Let it get activated. Let me do F8. Control F3. F8. So inactive version, active version will be, oh no, there is some error. Kunnar, customer, VBL and VBAK, we are getting this data from VBAK. This data is available now. Control F3. During DDIC, open the ABAP log for further detail. Error occurred. What can be the error? I have created the enhancement category authority object, label is there, and this is inherit. I think this name is bigger. That is the reason. That might be the reason. I can see problem view. There is 2 errors are there. Not activated. Indicator network reference information is free. Let me remove. I don't want to give that semantics and all. Let WAERK also, because this we have created CDS entity. In this case, the mandatory to give the relationship between the currency and amount. Let me activate now. Control F3. I think now it got activated. Let me do F8. You don't know why we are getting this error. I already explained my previous videos. I don't want to go in much detail over there. You can see I got some data. That's it. I just want to create this CDS. Now what I want to do, so I want to use this particular conditions, whatever I have one CDS entities here. On this CDS entity, what all are the access roles are applied, those I want to use, those conditions I want to use in this particular CDS also, all the roles. So before that, first prerequisite, what all are the roles are applied. In this case, you can see most of the time we have condition on VQRZ. So VQRZ, we should have those all fields. If we don't have those fields and we are trying to apply those conditions, it will be not possible. In this case, in both the DCLs, whatever we are having, the VQRZ is there. So what I will do, I will create another DCL and on this particular CDS entity, and I will apply, or I will use this particular CDS entity, and I will apply all the access role of this CDS entity on this particular CDS entity. It's little bit confusion. Let me show you quickly how we can do. Just you have to create, right click and create DCL, new access control I want to create, and let me give some access control Z DCL underscore 09, that is fine, and give some description, DCL for 09 something I want to give, and you have to click next button and just select appropriate TR, and you have to click on next button, and this time you have to select define role inheriting condition with inherit conditions. You can select or you can write your own code. If you don't want to select from the template, it will be selected from the it will be done from the your you can write the code as well. So you can see this I have created. In this case, I want to inherit the, I have defined the, I have created DCL on this particular CDS entity, and I want to, what I want to do, I want to inherit condition from the entity. Which entity I want to inherit? This entity. Control C, I have to just give the entity name. That's it. And Shift F1, and I have to activate this one. Control F3. Now I will try to refresh the data. This is this, you can see sample consumption CDS view. No, I don't want to see data of this one. I just want to see the data of this one. Control F3. And if I do F8 now on this one, you can see I'm getting the data only from, if you do distinct values, I'm getting the data only for NA01. Why? Because we have one redefinition of the NA01 here. Because in this CDS entity, there is two DCLs. Both DCLs got applied here as well. And since this DCLs applied here, one VQRG condition with VVHO, and we have one with redefinition. So redefinition got applied here, and NA01 data only got for this CDS also. What all are the access roles applied on this CDS entity? All the access roles will be applied on this CDS entity also. So this is the how this particular, what we can say, inheriting condition from entity will work. It will inherit all the condition from the entity. But one more thing I want to define here. Suppose you would have used here VB type also along with this one. Let me Control Shift greater than. Let me use VB type, and I want to use VB type equal to C. That is document type, nothing else. You can use anything. C means sales order. Let me activate this one. Control F3, and if you try to do now F9, anyway I have inherited this one. Let me do control redefine here, or I can change here itself, because this will not work here. What I can do, I can do Control F3, and in the second DCL where we have redefined, I can put one additional condition, and currently what we are getting, for that we have to see, currently only we are getting NA01 with C, only C we are having. Let me get all the data. C and B we are having. I want to get with the B only. VB type equal to document type B, any quotation. I want to get only quotation for this particular sales order. Control F3. I want to apply that conditions. And if you refresh the data of this CDS entity, which we have created, this one, sample 01. Currently this is sample 09. If I try to refresh the data of this one, sample 01, I will get only now NA01 and B I will get. And same will be applied to here as well. If I try to refresh data here, I will get NA01 B only. So whatever we are doing on here, it will be applied over here as well. So this is the very important thing. But suppose I would have not used the VB type field here. I would have used only VQRZ field, and I would have activated this one. VB type is not part of this particular DCL, but it is CDS entity, but this is the part of this CDS entity. What I will do, I will activate this one, Control F3. Whatever we discussed in theory, just we are applying over here. So nothing else we are doing. So what we can do, you can see what I will do here. I have created this DCL. I will try to activate now again. Control F3. So you can see I'm getting one error here. What error I'm getting? Entity. If you see and try to see error, we don't have any VB type field which is used in this particular CDS entities DCL, because we applied the VB type field condition. That particular condition we can't apply on this particular CDS entity, because this CDS entity don't have this particular, let me close some of the sessions so we can see, this CDS entity don't have VB type field. I try to use this one, then I'm not able to use. One more thing you can use, if you have full grant access. Suppose in this way, instead of this condition, I would have not condition on this one, and let me do Control F3. Let me go back, but in this delete, Control F3, you can say this time I got activated, even though the VB type field is not there for this particular let me close this one. For this particular DDIC, you can see in this particular we don't have VB type field, and in this DCL, if you try to see this DCL, we applied the conditions from let me open here. So in this DCL, we applied the conditions from this CDS entity. In this CDS entity, we have both the VB type and NA01 is here, but VB type is not part of this one. But for this CDS entity, one full grant rule is available. That is the reason we didn't get any error when we are creating this particular DCL, but we are getting one warning. What warning you are getting? That you have one VB type field. We will get the warning. If we have full access rule, it will get activated. If we don't have this full access rule, instead of we have some conditions are there, Control F3, and now if I try to activate this one, yeah, cancel, Control, no, okay, I will just activate this one, Control F3 first. It got activated now, and if I try to move here and there, and you can see I got again this error, because we don't have full access rules. I'm getting error. You are using this CDS entities, all the DCLs, or you can say all the access control, which is having some additional field which you don't define in your particular CDS view. Like that, this particular inheriting conditions from CDS entity works, and you might be not able to see due to my video. You can see here. So like that it will work. So for that you have to define this VB type field here, or you should not use this DCL. So if you define here, and if you activate this one, Control F3, and if you try to see now this one, cancel, and if you try to no, okay, I have activated now. Let me do Shift F1. Let me do something here. What error I am getting now? VB type is not. Let me activate this one, Control F3, and now it should not give me error, because we have now VB type field here, VKRG VB type field. I will activate this one, Control F3. You can see I didn't get any error and it got activated. Like that, this particular inherit condition from the entity will work. Now we will discuss the last one, inheriting condition from the super. For that we don't require this newly created CDS view. Let me close this one also. This is also not required, this is also not required, this is also not required, and this also not required. Nothing is required out of that. Only I required the first CDS entity, CDS view. You can see this is the CDS view, GCDS sample 01. We have two DCL for this, sample 01 and sample 02. Okay, and first DCL, and that inheriting condition from super, what it will do, let me apply that one here. I have created for this particular CDS entity, one CDS this one, DCL is this one, and second DCL is this one. If I do first prerequisite to apply inheriting conditions from super, this variant, your access rule, which is starting from here and ending here, should have redefinition. Then only we can do. And what it will do, once we define this one, currently what redefinition it will do, as I told you, if you refresh the data, you will get the applied data based on this one only, NA01 and B. I want to disable, somebody created this DCL with the redefinition. I want to disable this particular DCL without deleting it. So for that purpose, we can use inheriting conditions from super. So that is very useful. What I can do, inheriting conditions from super. What it will do, this basically, I just have to comment this one. This is not required now. Control Shift less than. What it will do, instead of running this particular access rule now, irrespective we define redefinition, now all other DCL defined for this particular CDS entity will run. Let me show you. Control F3, and just if you try to refresh the data, and currently this conditions got applied. Now irrespective we use the redefinition, this whatever we are defining here, it will not applied, and if you refresh the data, whatever it defined here, this will be applied. In this VVSO was there, I think so. So VVSO's entries we will get. So you can see, so what is the purpose of the inheriting condition from super? What it will do, it will disable this particular DCL, and the other DCL which created for this particular CDS entities, there can be multiple, those will be applied instead of applying this particular CDS entity. This is the simpler one, and I can say, I don't know why SAP created. If I want to disable, I just can delete also. But if you don't want to delete and you want to create another one, that is the purpose of this particular inheriting condition from super. I think I have explained all the parts which I have explained in the theory, and we did the practical also. I think you got now a little bit clarification. With that, we have done with the inheriting conditions. And before going to next video, please like this video, subscribe this channel, and share these videos with others as well, so they can also learn. With that, thank you and happy learning.